Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing whether or not the Thai government cares about small business. I have had a hard time thinking about making this video. I at first decided I didn't want to do it. Then I decided, yeah, it was a good idea to go ahead and do it. I'm not making this, again, I hate prefacing these videos this way. I just don't want to sound cynical. I'm not trying to point fingers at anyone. The reason for making this video is hopefully to provide maybe insight to those who've been adversely impacted this past year. And, folks out there, you know who you are. We certainly have had clients that it's been terrible. Since February 2020, the way that this has progressed and evolved, it hasn't been good for anybody, and small businesses, I think, have been hit the hardest. And I certainly can understand why people look at the way things have gone, here in Thailand, or, Thailand's not the only place that has made policies that have had a substantially detrimental impact on SMEs. I mean, the United States, just to name one example, has done things that have really critically, fundamentally hurt small businesses. So again, this isn't so much a dig at the Thais and no one else, or excuse me, not the Thais, but the Thai government and no one else. Again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think everybody's acting in good faith. I think everybody's trying to do things that will have the least detrimental impact. It's kind of one of the reasons I've been a little bit snarky lately and talking about the non-lockdowns in Thailand, but I do think the government is taking heed of the fact that there are economic repercussions to these initiatives that they, to these restrictions that they put on people. Do they not care? I don't think they don't care. I think that they do care to whatever extent any government or bureaucracy cares about anything. What I think is more the phenomenon that is occurring right now is there's sort of blinders on with regard to the only priority is dealing with COVID. Now, my personal opinion is I think you need to take a much bigger picture approach to dealing with this. And in my opinion, especially a year on, there's a certain level of this we're just going to have to get used to living with and dealing with the fact that, yes, some businesses are going to be open. And that may, in my opinion, that may cause some spread. It's not a zero-sum game at this point. And I think personally, it's not great to look at it that way. That said, when you do put the blinders on and your only priority is dealing with this, other things can fall by the wayside. And I think that that's more what's happening rather than just sort of a concerted effort. I don't think there's any effort, but rather than looking at it as an effort to undermine small business, or even a kind of, for lack of a better term, a kind of a negligent sort of neglect that's going on. I don't even think that's what's going on. It's just the main priority, at least from the government standpoint, seem to be dealing with this, and then everything else is just kind of a secondary issue. Now, again, whether or not that is the most prudent way of dealing with this, especially a year on, I have my opinions on that. I don't think they're really pertinent to this video, but yeah, I really understand where people are coming from, where they have a lot of antipathy toward the government's response to this and how it's impacting small business. But do I think it's intentional? No. Do I even think that, I almost would say that they're just almost blinded by their goal of dealing with or responding to COVID, and they're kind of letting everything else fall by the wayside while they're dealing with that.